What it do, everybody out here in Naysayer Nation? We are back for the Aftershow podcast. Another Sunday and another week that ended in total disaster for the game industry. we just keep piling it up. we can't just seem to have one good week where nothing horrible happens. And spoiler alert, next week will also be similarly horrible for parts of the game industry.
Probably.
Almost guaranteed. So of course we're getting into everything tonight. We obviously going to talk about the latest from the big hitters in the industry. PlayStation and Xbox both had their fair share of unfortunate news this week, coming off of the huge price hikes from Xbox. Sony said, "Hold my beer," and announced that they're canceling effectively physical game production as we know it, on top of course, their games no longer releasing on any platform other than PlayStation, except for the cases of some multiplayer live service stuff. But not to be outdone, Xbox also has some pending disastrous news, according to reports from Jason Schreier. All the news we've heard about layoffs, big layoffs coming, studio closures, all of that is reportedly happening tomorrow. That's when we'll get a full picture of exactly what's going on. There are up to potentially 5 new studios being closed down, potentially over 1,000 jobs being lost across Xbox. Of course, one of the studios that pretty much out of there, Compulsion Games. Also was talks about potentially the State of Decay being that studio being gone. Of course, the big one, Marvel's Blade, Arcane, potentially getting out of there. That we do have some potentially good news about that to go over. Also, of course, the little piece of good news of X-Men 97 premiered. We watched.
Do you have Dave's Hot Chicken in your area?
I do not.
Okay, we have one, and they have an X-Men 97 meal in which they're not kids' meals, they're just regular meals. You can get one of 4. You can get one of 4 figures. All right, I got the Cyclops. I actually got 2 Cyclops, and I got a Wolverine. And then somebody sitting next to me, they got doubles on Jean Grey. So I traded a Cyclops for Jean Grey. The only one I'm missing is Storm. So hopefully at some point we'll get Storm. You know, the girl let me pick from the box, and I was excited because I'm like, all right, perfect. I can get Jean and Cyclops, and I'm gonna let her choose between Wolverine and Storm. Because if I take Storm, I didn't care which one I got, but if I take Storm, I'm a hero. But if I take Wolverine, I know exactly what you're gonna say. So blind bags didn't have a choice.
Nah, you're still racist. So
I'm celebrating America today. Okay,
that makes it worse. but we are. But I am.
And yesterday,
I'm glad you enjoyed your kids meal for adults. And shout out to X-Men 97. We'll be talking about that.
Yeah.
That was that had a pretty great debut, 3-episode debut. Unfortunately, can't say the same thing good news wise about Supergirl, which had a pretty catastrophic second week in the box office. Not going well, but the DCU is still going on. They have a new show that was just greenlit that I'm very excited about. So it's not all bad news, but a lot of it is unfortunately bad news. And of course, there's going to be a couple significant things happen next week besides layoffs. We got Marvel Rivals Season 9 and a certain new Assassin's Creed game that will be allowed to talk about soon. But first, shout out to Chad. What's up, Eastwood? Welcome, old man. What's up, Travis? Super Patrick. Gabe Bond in the building. How y'all doing? Hope you're okay. Go ahead to dip when we talk about X-Men 97. Oh, you'll be fine.
He has a watcher. We won't go too spoilery. Don't worry.
What's up, Dave? What's up? What's up, Roderick? What's up, Monkey? Appreciate it. So we'll kick things off with the story that everybody is talking about. Even Domino's Pizza, the PlayStation blog. I when I saw that PlayStation dropped a new blog, I knew it was going to be bad news because I can't remember the last time PlayStation dropped a like blog with like an important announcement that everybody responded to. It was like, oh man, that's great. I'm so glad that Sony did that. Appreciate for this up. And sure enough, that my instincts were correct. PlayStation in a now very viral blog post announced, of course, that as of 2028, they are no longer producing physical copies of their video games. They did mention that there would be some legacy studios would have the option to have some legacy stuff, but for stuff before 2028, but after 2028, production on physical media from PlayStation is no longer happening. And a lot of people had very strong opinions about this, and almost all those opinions were some variation of this is terrible, fuck Sony, and please don't do this. and it's been kind of crazy. I think there's something important that a lot of people in this discussion are missing, but I'll get into that. First, I want to see what you think about the whole physical media going away thing. As Jay flexes his collection of physical media.
That's not even everything. All right, I got stuff. I ran out of shelf space, so I have stuff that's just like, put away, and it's really annoying. I don't know if you. I think I saw you saw the tweet from Razer.
Yeah.
So basically, I'm hoping, okay, because this is a mess. This is bad. I think their numbers are off. I think they're factoring too much into digital games. Are counting, like, you should take digital games out of the equation. So like Fortnite shouldn't count. Apex Legends, games like that. Those games shouldn't count towards the numbers, and they are counting them towards the numbers. So that skews things a lot. Because you have to consider, like, Roblox. I didn't even realize this. Roblox is like the #1 game played in the world. Did you know that?
Yes.
Okay. I knew it was up there. I didn't realize that it had gotten to a point where it's like 5-1 on any other game. You know what I mean?
Yes, it's massively popular.
So, yeah, I mean, I knew part of that, but like, man,
that's intentional, by the way, Jay. They're aware.
I know. But the Razer thing gives me a little bit of hope, because if they can work with Xbox and Sony and just plug it into a USB drive and have it licensed to work with both of them, that alleviates a lot of the pressure, because then it comes down to, all right, so maybe PlayStation isn't going to do physical media anymore themselves for their first party games. At least the other companies have the choice should they choose to. And I think what that means is what Nintendo is doing, where they're charging $10 more for the physical copies, because for better or worse, it does cost money to go through all that production and ship it and all that. It's a terrible decision, I think, because people, I think they underestimated how much that, remember in 2013, that famous passing of the disc, the day after Xbox had, they were going to do the same-ish thing as Xbox.
Yes, 100%.
But they saw that disaster and they said, oh shit, what do we do? Let's pivot. And they did it masterfully, and it won them 2 entire generations. And not just won it for them, in a landslide. That buried Xbox into a hole that they still haven't recovered from. And you know how much that hurts me to say.
Yes,
but it's true. It's true. And we all know that all along. So like, how did they think? Did they think that time would bury those sentiments? Because some people have moved on. I do prefer digital, if I'm being honest, because I'm at a point in my life where I'm too lazy to like just change the discs. But I love having it as an option, and I love getting it for my collection. So
yeah,
I just I don't understand.
I think it really does come down to the money. There's unfortunately even when you exclude, you know, Marvel Rivals, Roblox, Fortnite, the fact is most games are still bought digitally, and with how much some money that Sony is looking to cut costs, because as you know, the pricing in the industry, production AAA has gone up a lot. You know, we had famously Spider-Man 2 budget of $300 million, which is still nuts. You know, then Sony on top of that spent $400 million on the Concord disaster. They spent over $3 billion, almost $4 billion on Bungie, which also has been a disaster. So Sony was just looking for ways after all that to cut costs. They did it by closing some studios. They did it through layoffs. They did it through price hikes. And another way they found to do it is by saying, hey, most people aren't buying, most gamers aren't buying physical copies anyway. It's kind of going away. Let's just add that to the list of ways that we can save some money on our production by just skipping that part. We can just not do it. And they thought, because of how many people prefer digital, it wasn't going to be that big of a deal. And it was it was more so than they thought. But I think what's kind of lost in this digital versus physical discussion is that there's a much larger problem, and it's not the idea of there not being physical copies of games anymore, which again most people aren't buying. It's the concept of ownership in the digital, specifically in the game industry, and consumer protection. Even if Sony reversed their decision and said, you know what, we're going to continue production of physical discs, that wouldn't actually solve the problem, which is why I'm concerned, because if they did that, they would get a ton of, you know, great PR and people would forget about it, when the real problem is DRM and digital and the lack of consumer protection that exists in the game industry. It shouldn't matter if I buy a digital copy of a video game or a physical copy of a video game. I should own it regardless of how I purchased it. But the way they put this in writing, when you buy a game from them, they treat it as a license. They think essentially they're acting like Blockbuster. They're saying, well, you don't really own it, you're renting it from us, essentially. So if we decide for whatever reason that we don't want you to have that anymore, we can just take it. And hilariously, right when Sony announced this decision to remove physical media, that they also announced that we also found out they had removed like 500 movies that people had bought from libraries because of a licensing issue without refund. So people who just bought all these stuff like Terminator 2, a bunch of famous movies got revoked from their library. All these people who bought them just woke up to them just not being in their library anymore with no compensation, no nothing. And that kind of just underscored the problem. But people more so turned that into this is why you need physical media. And that's not the solution, because even what we started seeing is that even with physical discs, they started making it so that even if you bought a physical copy of a game, you still had to install it like on your system and download it from the update. So you were still potentially subjected to the whims of Sony should they decide for whatever reason we don't want you to be able to play that game. The actual solution is we need better consumer protection rights so that no matter how you acquire a video game, as long as you have bought it, or a movie as well, whatever, as long as you buy it, you should just own it. Like, they should not have the right to just take it away from you for whatever reason. And I think that's the biggest thing that people are kind of missing here. Not physical isn't really just the solution. It's the actual legal issue of ownership in this situation, I think, is the bigger problem.
Did you see another thing that's been uncovered? I saw Dell tweet about it. There's a new thing in their terms and conditions. If you have not used your account for at least 36 months, we may take action to close it. In that case,
close your account and remove all your games.
Now, keep in mind, very extreme, right? If you don't play for 3 years, could be a number of things. Could be in jail, could be deployed. There's a million reasons why somebody might not be able to access their system for 3 years.
You might just not want to play video games for a while.
Very unlikely circumstance, but it can happen. It's not ridiculous.
It happened to me when I was in college.
Yeah. So, like, you come back to it and they just take everything because you didn't access it for a while. Why? Why does that matter? Like, it's kind of crazy the things that they're already showing that they're willing to do. And that is why people want to have their hard copies of the disc. You know, I think there are actually a lot of benefits to going all digital. Number one, we always talk about Gone Gold. That another Dell tweet that was very. I love following Dell. He has so many insightful things.
100%.
And although I think he deleted a tweet that I saw overnight that I don't know if I want to get into, but he was very wrong on it, and he might have gotten called out. So, anyway, it wasn't industry related though, so it doesn't matter. Because I was looking at his account, I just like, oh wow, that's gone. But anyway, so basically, one of the big things for Grand Theft Auto not being on disc is that they can basically go to the last minute and still be updating the final copy of the game. They don't have to have it ready on the disc, number one, to ship. And number two, that also means there's not random discs slipping off of trucks and in warehouses in the Philippines or China or wherever they may be, getting offloaded to pirates and sent. And there's no copies of the game that can possibly get out there. And that's going to avoid leaks. And that is pretty big for the company, especially. And it
saves them money. A lot of money.
And it saves them a lot of money. It saves a lot of headaches because, like, look, I mean, my brother worked at Walmart back in the day, and one of his friends for Arkham Asylum, they found the box of Arkham Asylum games like a week and a half before the game came out. And one of his buddies, unbeknownst to my brother, showed up at our house with like 5 copies of the game. I didn't ask any questions. I had Arkham Asylum well before it was out. I beat the game before it was out. I wasn't a YouTuber at the time. I just played it and enjoyed it on my own. But, when a game like that gets out in a week and a half early and you have no restrictions to publicists or anything like that, anything can happen. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's a thing that still happens today. You know what I mean? And that is how you get all these massive leaks. It's not always just the journalists or media people or influencers that, baby's first video game in advance. Let's break the NDA. You know what I mean? It's not always that. It's sometimes just people getting their hands on the game and they have no restrictions.
That's That's what mostly happens. Yeah.
Yeah, it's their 15 minutes of fame time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
So,
either a hack on a company or someone gets a physical copy much earlier than they're supposed to.
right.
I think it happened to Resident Evil as well.
Yeah. So I like that. I'm not gonna lie. I do like the idea that these games are going to be more secure until release. But at the same time, I just ordered Tokon from Amazon because I want to make sure I get a physical copy. And I know there's another controversy with that. I guess.
Yeah. Fortunately,
I guess
you're in the correct region, so you're fine.
Right. Yeah. So I guess the PC people, there's like 132 countries that are blocked from playing it on PC. And I saw another tweet today. A guy's like, I live in Australia now, but I used to live in Nigeria, and internet, like I couldn't get more than 3 gigabytes of downloads a month. All right. So it was just so expensive. And you take for granted like how different parts of the world aren't caught up to us. And they still love video games and they should be able to play them. Like I thought back then, okay, this really isn't that big of a deal, but damn, we're 13 years since that famous E3, and it's still a problem for big chunks of the world. So,
the reason Sony's just doing it is just literally just because they just want more. They just want more signups for PS for PS. That's literally what it is. But
here's the weird thing, because we know Xbox is going to do the same thing. All right, on Helix,
they already confirmed the Helix is digital only.
Yeah, let's not pretend, But here's the thing that I find interesting. There's also apparently some kind of technology they're working on that is going to like basically copy your disc license and transfer it to your Xbox account. Yeah. And I don't know how that's going to work if there's no disk drive, but that's where that Razer thing has me so fascinated, because I guarantee Razer's going to find a way to get this disk drive to be able to read 360, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, Helix, Xbox, all these discs, and PS1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, well, not 6, no disc, but it'll be able to read all these discs. And as long as it has the right firmware from the third party, which I'm sure they would just license somehow, then you just plug it into the USB drive. Neither Sony or Microsoft have to worry about it, and leave it up to whoever wants to handle making stuff. Like there's companies that are still making like Sega Genesis and NES carts, for games that can be played on those platforms. And it's not common, but it's something they can do. So I'm fascinated because it's 24 hours old, the news. I'm fascinated to see how they can do that, and if it is something that it would work as a plug and play opportunity. Because like if that's like, even if that's like $200, I'd probably buy it easy,
Yeah, Still though, PlayStation is firm in their stance so far that they're they have a tweet in a few days, but they're still firm in their stance. We'll see if they pivot. I don't know when the DLC is. I thought it'd be announced by now, but I think it might come out later, maybe around the fall. But I think I'm wondering if Sony would even participate, because I'm wondering how committed they are to this. Because remember there was years when Sony was blocking crossplay. I wonder if it's like kind of this sort of deal where there's like, oh well, physical. We don't want to do physical media because it's all headaches. It's more expensive. There's leaks. There's the secondary market that we don't make any money off of. So
I think
I can see them just not wanting any part of it.
Right, I agree with you completely. Razer is absolutely going to force both of their hands to go be even more of a bad guy. because to the average consumer, it seems simple. Okay, Razer is handling all of the heavy lifting. All you have to do is license them to let them plug their device into yours. You know what I mean? It literally comes down to being that simple. You don't have to do anything. All your console has to do is, I guess technically it does have, you have to have the firmware to read the drive. That's it. And I'm sure that is something that Razer is going to have to develop on their end with their dev kit to make it work.
But the issue is, if Sony's not making physical games anymore, and on top of that, I've heard that the PS6 there might be some questions about backwards compatibility with the PS6. So then it's like, okay.
They're setting themselves up for a nightmare scenario for anybody that has, like, remember when PS5 came out and everybody had their Avengers disc and they went out and they got that digital only PS5 and they came home like, wait, how do I play Avengers now? Oh, you have to buy the game again.
Yeah.
Like, that's coming.
That's here's a new part. You don't.
Exactly. You didn't think of that? Remember, everybody was like, "Oh, I don't need a disc. I'll just get digital." Wait, I have only discs now. So
I had the foresight to get a disc. Well, not really. Literally the first PS5 that was available, because I had it connected. I had myself connected to this special Discord group that notifies you the second a PS5 goes into stock. And the first one that went into stock was the disc version, and I just immediately bought it. Like, oh well. Just not even think about it. Never bought. I've only bought one game with a disc for my PS5, and it was Elden Ring, and I bought it last year. I have not opened it at all.
Well, it's funny because, like, right here, I've got Invincible, I've got Marvel Cosmic Invasion, and I have Expedition 33, all the physical editions still in the case. Still in the wrapper, everything. And I'm probably just not going to open them at this point, because I have them all digitally. And, but like,
I might do it now to just be a collector now.
Yeah, but I like the idea of now the discs, the ones that I do have that get disc, just not opening them. And, that means I buy the game twice, but I don't care. Like, that's another topic.
It might be worth it. I might get a code for Wolverine, but regardless, I want to buy a physical copy because that's going to be the last. That's actually going to potentially be the last Insomniac game with a physical copy, unless Venom comes out next year.
It might be the last. Well, probably won't be the last PlayStation exclusive anyway. But yeah, I just I don't know, man. Obviously another thing, I can't confirm it because I'm going purely off of social media, which I know is probably like 50-50 at best, but
always a bad idea.
I can't confirm it because I already have digital copies of the games.
Right.
But like immediately after this, a lot of people have been saying that like God of War Ragnarok is like full price digital right now. But you could probably walk into any GameStop or Walmart and get it for $20 on a disc, and that is the other thing. Yes, things go on sale, but they do not go on sale at the level that they do at retail. What I mean?
And to be fair, Ragnarok was free on PlayStation Plus at one point.
I got you. Yeah, and that's fine, but like at the same time, we have it burned into our core that like 3-4 years after a game comes out, it shouldn't still be full price. You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially if it's digital, because like the pitch for like the transition to all this new technology is that, oh well, games as you know, because you're old, games used to be much more expensive because it was all physical. Like they didn't have the technology. Like it literally was extremely expensive to produce and distribute video games. So that's why you had, the equivalent of a brand new game like a Mario 64 being like $120, when adjusted for inflation. But with the digital age, those savings have kind of been progressively going away. Like you had the $60 games during the PS4 generation, and then they bumped it up to $70, and now you're seeing them trying to hike that up to $80. But these are still digital only, and we're not seeing the only place we're seeing games like relatively cheap are like on the indie and AA market. But the AAA market, even though they're spending much less money on, especially if they're not doing physical versions, they're spending less money on that, they still manage to find other ways to spend too much money, and now they're passing it on to consumers by keeping those digital only prices high.
Yeah, and I'm glad that actually segued right into what I was thinking, because the first thing people start saying, well, if the games aren't going to be on disc anymore, then they should be cheaper because you don't have all that overhead anymore. But that neglects the point that these games are costing more and more and more to produce. And everybody's like, well, this AAA, this indie studio could make this game and it's $20. I'm like, yes, look at that game versus Grand Theft Auto 6. They are vastly different, okay? Exactly. Yes, that game is cheaper because 5 people in a closet were able to make it in 6 months. Okay.
Yeah, your best case scenario for like, and we're talking about AA quality, is like Expedition 33. And that's right. That was like a $40 game, $50 game.
And here's the thing that we're like we're literally about to watch probably 5 more studios close starting as soon as tomorrow.
Yeah.
After 500 people get laid off from one of the biggest studios of all time, one of the most iconic studios of all time. Like, we are bleeding studios and employees left and right because they are just not making money, because not only do gamers expect everything about a video game, and you can't see me do this, they expect everything about a video game to fit 100% of what their perception is the game should be, but also it shouldn't cost them any money, and also fuck you. Like, I don't understand. So there are actually people that are upset that Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be $100, okay? Most of these people that are just diehard Grand Theft Auto players and whatever have spent the last 13, 14 years playing Grand Theft Auto 5 that probably have thousands of hours a year on the game, that have probably purchased it on 360, 1, X, 3, 4, 5, like different versions for each platform, okay? Like, you are going, like, I don't understand why people don't relate what they're paying to the time spent. If you get 30 hours out of a game that costs, we'll say $90, you're paying $3 an hour for entertainment, okay? Is that really ridiculous? Is that really the craziest thing?
To be fair, I think most of the people who are complaining about the price of GTA 6's Ultimate Edition weren't actual GTA players. Like, because
I'm just using that as an example. You could do this across games.
We know from the sales that they did not give a fuck. Right. They bought that, but I think
I'm just using that as an example.
But more so the issue, I think, was like the paywalling content. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of people who will complain, like any game, like $60, $70. They'll bitch about the price and act like they're like it's somehow not valuable if they spend 20, 30, even 100 hours in a game. They feel like because they feel like games should cater specifically to their lack of money, and that's just not how it works. It's a luxury. It is a luxury hobby, and if you don't have the luxuries to afford a hobby, I mean, they have free to play games, they have indie games, they have AA games. You can get those.
I just want to. I feel like my litmus test should be, anytime somebody complains about the price of a video game, I want to ask them how many pairs of shoes they own. Because if you own more than like 2 or 3, then I don't care about your opinion. Because if you have like a closet full of $500 shoes, I don't want to hear about your opinion. Like, I feel like there's this weird thing where it's like, there's all these places where you can spend money and nobody questions it. But god damn it, if I have to pay $3 more for a video game, like what? Like, oh my god, it's the worst thing that could ever happen. It's like, god damn.
Yeah, it's kind of like the people who bitch about $70 video games while spending $500 in Fortnite.
Right. But that's free to play. And that's the weird thing is that, like, you know, like, but like I'll even use Lego as an example, okay? There's been times where they'll put out all their content. Like people complained about paying $30 for the season pass for these Lego games. And these season passes have all traditionally come with, 5 or 6 character packs and 3 or 4 story packs. And all of them basically are about $5 each. You get like 6 to 10 characters and a lot of times some story. Not the longest story, but you get like another 45 minutes to an hour of gameplay. And they would complain about that. And I'm like, but you want more. You want them to put more stuff in the game, but you don't want to pay $5 per release for it.
Exactly.
But yet
they want it. They want more. They just don't want to pay for it.
But yet $30 is like one bundle in Fortnite. Like Lobo, Supergirl, and Crypto, surprisingly for Fortnite, was a fair price for 2 characters and a sidekick. I thought that was going to be like 4,000 V-Bucks, and it was at best. And it was only like 3,500, which is about $30. But for $30, you're getting 2 skins, a couple items for it, and a little dog that runs around with you. Like, and we're bitching about an extra $20 to get the best version of Grand Theft Auto. Give me a break. And I'll say this about GTA 6. They should have just come out for one version, $100, and just done it. Like, because there's no reason to get the $80 version.
Literally,
getting the $80 version is you saying I'm a welfare gamer.
Yeah, there's literally because there's no benefit. Like it's just get the $100.
Why wouldn't you just spend the extra $20? It's not that big of a deal.
It isn't. This is actually a good question because it is. It's kind of all over. It goes in different areas. So I'm assuming they're referring to like because everything's more expensive. Like where's that money going? Well, obviously a lot of it goes into executive bonuses. Unfortunately, if we're strictly talking about the AAA, if we're talking about the AAA industry, but the issue is that in the AAA section, gaming has gotten more expensive because what happened was as these companies like Ubisoft, for example, got very successful off their games, they thought naturally the best thing to do when you are very successful is expand. That's what they teach you in the tech space and other areas. You expand. So what they do, they bring in people who are money people from other companies, and then you expand the studio. You start making spin-off studios. You hire more staff. You have a big legal department, and you have a giant HR department, and you have this manager and this manager. You have your money people and your like you have all these. Now you have all these departments, and you're spending more and more money. And then if you're located in a place like California, where it's very expensive to pay salaries and operate any sort of business, well, that's another cost on top of that. And if you have a physical location for your office, which these big companies do, especially if it's more extravagant, well, you got to pay. That's expensive to build, and then it's expensive to maintain. So you're in a situation where you're a AAA studio. You've got maybe, in the case of Ubisoft, at one point they had 20,000 employees. And you have to pay them competitively because it is the industry. So you're paying like $50,000-$100,000 salaries. You're paying for the building. You're paying the dev salaries. You're paying for marketing. You're paying legal, and all this because the numbers have to go up because that's what you do. You expand when you're successful, and that well, now we have investors, and investors, they don't care about games, they don't care about the quality, they just care that the number goes up. So you have to make, so then you get into a situation where you have to you have to make enough money on all your games in order to justify all the money you're spending on maintaining your expansion. And that was fine, during the pandemic when everyone was forced to stay at home and gaming saw this huge boom. But once that growth slowed down, then you have suddenly a bunch of these AAA companies that spent all that money on expansion. Suddenly they're not getting those expansion gains anymore, and their investors are looking at them like, number not go up. And now you have to look into a situation where, okay, now we're spending, we used to spend $50 million on a AAA game, now we're spending 200 million or 300 million, or in some cases 400 million, and that's just strictly on the budget, and of that one game. So it's gotten to the point where, yeah, they have to find, now they either have to cut jobs or pass that expense over to the consumer, or a combination of everything, which is what we're seeing. We're seeing, Ubisoft, they cut a bunch of stuff, jobs. Xbox has been cutting a lot of jobs. Prices are going to raise. That's just how it works. It is simply the industry. Specifically these big companies expanded too much, and when you expand that much, that you have to be able to make money to justify it. And once that stops, now we start seeing all the blowback and repercussions. So unfortunately, there's really no way to fix that without people losing their jobs. It just is what it is. Like, you can't suddenly make smaller games without making people redundant. Like, that's why I think that's what Asha is kind of been tasked with, that, or I think that's what she kind of saw as like the only realistic solution for Xbox. She saw like, okay, we're Xbox, but our brand is kind of in the shitter. We've been completely destroyed by Sony. We're being, even Steam and Nintendo are just eating our lunch. We're spending a lot of money maintaining all these studios, but we're barely putting out any games. So she probably thought the drastic thing would be to just cut a bunch of studios, trim as much as possible, and then kind of zero in and focus on IPs that they think they'll be able to make a lot of recurring revenue on, to fund everything and kind of get back on track and be a little more leaner. And in the short term, that's just creating horrible headlines. Because there's really no other way around it from their perspective, because she's the CEO, but my Big Daddy Microsoft is in charge, and they have investors, they have bosses they have to appeal to. So she has to find a way to make Xbox profitable long term, and there really just aren't that many great solutions when you're dealing with these massive corporations with expectations that the number keep going up. That's just what it is.
Before I touch on that, so we're talking about Ubisoft having up to 20,000 employees at a certain point. If you assume that they're making an average of 75K a year, which may be high in some areas and low in some areas, I don't know. But I feel like there are people that are probably making much more and maybe a little bit less.
Yeah.
You have to figure, with that many employees, they were spending just $1.5 billion a year on salary. Yeah. Right? Like, that's wild when you consider, okay, so they put out a Skull and Bones, and they put out a Assassin's Creed, what came out that year, Valhalla, and they put out Watch Dogs, whatever the last Watch Dogs was. Like, and then there's a couple other games, right? They're putting out all these games. Like, will those 3 games collectively get that back? Like, and you have to do that every single year.
and that's why they're all so heavily monetized. And Ubisoft started getting memed about it. Like, why are these single player games basically like live service games with like packs and stores, and that's why
exactly. And it's either buy it or don't. So I don't know, man. It's but like gamers are their own worst enemy. That's just what it comes down to. But as far as Xbox, let me just tell you, I was in the room with Asha at the end of that showcase, that famous showcase where they showed us all these games that might never happen.
One game we know one game we know from a studio that is definitely getting close.
And it's like okay, the mood was at an all-time high, and I can't. It was a real. I'm not gonna lie. It was one of my favorite experiences of going to any of these events that I've been to. All right, watching people, just the pure joy of being happy and being Xbox fans and just enjoying the show, But I do wonder, like, what the point of that is if you're just gonna pull the rug, because nobody wants the rug pulled out from under them, right?
Yeah.
And I don't understand the point of showing some of these games if they're never going to happen. Like, I just don't.
Hellblade.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I don't necessarily agree with that studio being shut down, but I don't know why they're not selling these studios. There's got to be ways to do it. But here's my cope. Okay, my cope would be that all of this stuff is leaking for a reason. To get that feedback visibly in the air, with hope that she can go back to Daddy Microsoft and say, listen, give me another year. We have the money to be able to get through this year. We're going to reorganize. We're going to push these games out. We're going to get leaner, but still be able to put these out. And I think we can turn around if you could just give us another year. If after a year these games come out and it doesn't make a difference, then we will start the process of offloading those games, offloading those companies, whatever it may be, But I just feel like she just got here. She's already, at least on the surface, seemingly changed a lot of the rhetoric with Xbox.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's like that seesaw, So like, let us keep building and getting ahead, especially with all this blowback on Sony this week. That could be the ultimate, like, look, we're making moves. Let us just get there. Because if we cancel State of Decay 3, if we cancel Blade, Dell keeps pointing out that Blade had like 3 to 4 times more views than the second most viewed trailer from that announcement Summer Game Pass show.
11 million.
And maybe it's going to be a shit game. I don't know. Okay, I thought, I'm not a big Dishonored fan, but I thought the game was still good. Like,
I think Blade is going to be good, and we actually did get some interesting news. Funny you said something about them trying to make some big changes. I think most of that was cope, but we do have Jez Corden, who we know is basically Xbox's appointed insider.
Yeah,
and he mentioned that
I actually saw him meet Asha for the first time.
Yeah, I actually saw that photo.
I was standing there watching it happen.
So Machine Games we know is safe. They're apparently being reinvested in heavily by Xbox. There's going to be they're going to do a Wolfenstein 3 TV show. But under there, he mentioned some news on Arcane. He said, from my end, he's heard there's no plans to actually end development on Blade, although there's clearly some major potential restructuring going on. So what essentially seems like is happening is that Asha must have probably looked at the balance sheet and probably got had some conversations with the Microsoft bosses, and they said, look, number got to go up, y'all got to cut some costs. So she started going through studios that maybe have been underperforming or didn't think it had potential, and she's like, okay, what can we cut? What studios can we close? We gotta close. We gotta as part of our rebuilding strategy. We're going to have to close some stuff down. So they put some stuff together, and from what we've gathered from insiders, they're either considering shutting studios down or negotiating to get them sold off to other potential buyers. But if they can't find buyers, my understanding is that they will be shut down. And yeah, the creators of Hellblade, Compulsion, who did South of Midnight, they're reportedly going to be shut down unless they find a buyer at the last second. It'd be crazy that they're considering shutting down State of Decay 3, because I thought that was one of the most anticipated upcoming Xbox games.
Yeah, man, that one's crazy. From what I understand, Blade is over budget and running behind. So,
but it's still coming out next year
sure.
on schedule.
Of course, I'm just saying that, like, I understand why there's question marks there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
But I don't understand, like, if you're for any of these games, if you are within 6 to 8 months of these games actually coming out, just fucking eat it and get there. Like, you can't go. Like, what's the point of closing at this point? You've already paid for all this development. Just finish it out.
Like the Wonder Woman, as much as it was sad that the Wonder Woman game got canceled, that made sense because there was essentially no game. There was no game. They had spent like well over $100 million at that point on vaporware. There was no game. Like they initially announced it and had no game, like, because the game that they were working on had for 4 years. Executives said, "No, you're not. We're not letting you release this because it didn't have a popular IP attached to it." You know, stupid, but that was the leadership back then. So they just said, "Okay, we need to do something. So let's tell them we're doing a Wonder Woman game." So they just threw together a quick CGI trailer with no progress made on the game, and then they started trying to put it together. At first, they tried to do a Nemesis system game, couldn't get it together. So then they had to scrap that, start all over again. And by that time, they checked in and said, "Okay, you spent over $100 million. Where's the Wonder Woman game?" And they said, "There kind of isn't one yet. We had to start over." And it's like, okay, well, let's just cut this. But in the case of Arcane, I mean, you have a extremely hyped game, and you're like a year from release. Like that's insane. Like right now, the only Xbox games I'm looking forward to are Blade, Fable, and State of Decay 3. And you're telling me potentially 2 out of those 3 could be canceled and shut down, and which would leave the only thing they have left would be the Xbox exclusive Gears of War and a new Fallout game and a new Elder Scrolls coming out in 10 years. What are we doing?
But there's another issue right there, is that, like, how do you buy Bethesda and not make sure they're hard working on a new Fallout and a new freaking Elder Scrolls? Like, I understand. Yeah, I understand that they're, like, you know, chugging away behind the scenes, but, like, how are we not pumping these games out? The Fallout 76 community is amazing. Okay, I've met some really cool creators for that game, and I don't know how much money. I mean, they must be making good money because they're pushing it hard still.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So there must be players. I hope it does well. I'll also say though, where's Fallout 5? You know, and then there was the rumors this week of oh shit, what's their name? They just did The Outer Worlds 2. Dude, my brain is so broken right now.
The Outer Worlds 2. Oh, that studio. You mean the studio or?
Yeah, the studio. Why isn't it telling me the studio name? Obsidian. Okay. Obsidian. So there was some slight rumors that Obsidian might be in trouble, they were immediately squashed. Okay, Obsidian is like the type of studio you build your whole portfolio around, but they've not gone the safest route with some of their games. Like I thought the Outer Worlds 2 would do a lot better because I thought the Outer Worlds 1 was amazing.
Right.
And I don't know how it did. It must have done okay. Grounded 2 is still in early access. I'm assuming that they're doing well with Grounded 2. Yeah. I played a little bit of it at Summer Game Fest. Not my type of game, but I can see why people enjoy it. But they also made that Pentiment game, which was, I don't know about that. It wasn't for me. And then they did another game that was kind of, I'm trying to pull up their history here. They did Avowed. I think Avowed
that one
was.
did hit.
I think that was a little bit of a hit for a hard times for them. I thought that was going to be a really awesome game, and I don't think it hit that well. But you've got this amazing studio. They've got KOTOR 2 and Fallout New Vegas under the belt. Let them make Fallout New Vegas 2. Like, what are we doing? You own both studios, Like, you own Bethesda, you own Obsidian. Let them make Fallout New Vegas 2. It would be massive.
I think they definitely needed some major restructuring, because the fact that they released a Fallout TV show and didn't have a new Fallout game to announce is absolutely criminal.
They had to strong arm it into 76. Fallout, like I'm not gonna lie. I went to an event in New York City for Fallout 76 Burning Skies. Okay, and that is where they introduced the ghoul to Fallout 76. Now remember, the last time we saw the ghoul, he was in Las Vegas or New Vegas, okay? And I don't remember what the timeline is, and I know that you can wander quite a bit, but Fallout New Vegas is in West Virginia, and the Burning Skies expansion is in Ohio. I can't imagine it's super easy to go coast to coast, but like they really had to like strong arm him in there.
Yeah, for sure.
I really just hope that Fallout 5 is going and they just fucking base it on Lucy and just or all three of the main three. You know what I mean? It can be the ghoul. It can be I'm not remembering names right now, but any of the three. Okay, you can play the game from any of the three perspectives.
Yeah, because Cyberpunk when Edge Runners hit on Netflix, they were in a great position because Cyberpunk was already in the middle of recovering because they've been doing updates, and then Edge Runners hit, and then CD Projekt Red had an update ready to promote it. Then they later released DLC Phantom Liberty, and they announced a Cyberpunk sequel, and they announced The Witcher 4. So they were able to capitalize on the momentum and the goodwill to not only turn the perception of Cyberpunk around completely, but also get a lot of momentum into their upcoming projects. And I feel like Xbox was just kind of floundering because it feels like they really didn't expect the Fallout show to be successful or anything like that. I mean, obviously Sony would have loved to have had Naughty Dog have a new game out when they did The Last of Us, but at least they had fresh remasters to sell. But the fact that Xbox, as big as they are, all the studios they acquired, didn't even consider, it's been a while, let's have a new Fallout game to go through.
Xbox I had not heard this one.
Really? Xbox is claimed to be considering moving Halo to be developed under Activision for more stability and consistency.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not the biggest Halo fan. I don't love a lot of the Halo stuff. I do think there's been a dip since they separated from Bungie.
for sure. Huge dip, but
it's not the same. So that would certainly be interesting.
That's interesting. Appreciate the 5, by the way, Armani. I'm looking forward to talking about that game very, very, very soon. Very, 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 very soon. I look so as much as people justifiably give Activision crap for producing Call of Slop. I mean, depending on how it's done, I think it could improve the quality, because the problem with Call of Duty isn't that it's bad. Like the issue is that we know that there are really talented developers. There's a reason Call of Duty is so popular. They're really talented over there. The problem is the executives putting all these terrible decisions in play to try to maximize profit over game quality. And my concern with Halo is that, yeah, if you give it to Activision, maybe they improve the gameplay loop and everything like that, the production values, but at what cost? And emphasis on cost. like are they just gonna turn this into another slot factory for their devs?
Well,
out of COD into the Halo.
It's wild because there are some amazing studios that are just become Call of Duty factories.
That's literally what they're.
Yeah. Raven, High Moon. Like I would think though that would be like an opportunity to, streamline it, because I don't know enough about the Halo studio. I think there were like 151 games or something like that.
Yeah.
I saw some of the new remake that's coming out, Combat Evolved. When I was at the Game Fest, people were able to play it.
Yeah.
And it looks good. That's great, but that's only going to go so far. 343 games, man. There's a bunch of random numbers, but but I don't think their quality has been anywhere near Bungie's. And I just feel like if you can put them into that factory, if you will, fold them into the Call of Duty ecosystem and then turn all these studios into a Halo and Call of Duty ecosystem, I think there's something to be said for that. Call of Duty was very lazy. The last one I played was very lazy. They did it kind of like this sandbox style levels, and I was like, ooh, this does not work. It's kind of cool, but it definitely didn't work. Yeah, Master Chief and Warzone, that'd be pretty interesting.
Yeah. If they try, and if they kind of focus on making a quality Halo game, yeah, it would be amazing under Activision. But that's the question: are they going to try, or are they going to just treat it like Call of Slop? Like how they just kind of just don't care about the quality. They just want to get it out the door.
Well, we'll see what happens with this new Call of Duty, because I do feel like they heard, and I'm hoping I mean, you could, this whole row right here is Call of Duty 2 all the way to I don't know. I haven't really collected Call of Duty for a few years, but I
still have not played a single second of Call of Duty in my
wow, that's crazy. I'm not gonna lie. I am not gonna lie. I used to play my first Call of Duty was Call of Duty 2 when I was living in Jacksonville, Florida. My roommate he rented Call of Duty 2, and we kept my 360 in the living room, so everybody would play it, and I played a little bit then. Mostly watched him play it while we rented it from Blockbuster, and then I played some of Call of Duty 3, but 4 is when I kind of started playing a little bit more. In World at War 5, that was when I went all in, and for World at War, Modern Warfare 2, that stretch, I was a hardcore Call of Duty player. It wasn't until Bad Company 2 came out that I saw the light and shifted. But I was there from the beginning, and I remember how those games made me feel. They were amazing. But we had Jon Snow in space. I mean, it got weird for a while, and it's tough to churn those things out every single year.
That's why you shouldn't.
Well, that's why Battlefield doesn't. I think there's something to be said for being able to have a solid core game that you're able to roll out paid DLC, every so often, and just maximizing that. I think that is, you just got to get that core base in. Yeah, and I think their opportunity for that was with Warzone. Like that's a 24/7 living game.
Yeah, I have played about maybe 30 minutes of the new Battlefield. I played Destiny 2 for about a month. I've never played Halo. I've never played Call of Duty at all. And I don't intend to.
I was a hardcore Battlefield player for a while. I was very highly ranked in Bad Company 2. There was a point in time where I was like, I think they had rankings, like player rankings in the world, and I was like in the 1100s. Like I was that close to making top 1,000, which is a lot when you consider like how many people played, that game. So, I played a lot. I played very competitively. I played with a lot of people that played in the pro events they did. Those were the days.
My goat's washed.
What?
My goat is washed.
Oh yeah. Oh, I am. I think the days of the being a hardcore PvP shooter player has passed me by a little bit. I can still hang in Fortnite, but that's not really the same. But Killzone and Resistance were terrible. There's a reason why those games are dead.
Yeah, I think there could be something there if they kind of look at how they can bring, because there's definitely demand for old PlayStation IPs. I have seen people asking for different Jak and Daxter, Killzone, and I think they can bring some of the stuff back and just make them better for sure. But
nostalgia is a motherfucker. All right. I will say SOCOM, I agree. SOCOM is the franchise they should invest in because that is a more realistic warfare situation, where I think there's something there for SOCOM. Resistance and Killzone.
Max Payne is actually already in development. But
that's Rockstar, right?
That's the other one. That's the same. That's Remedy.
Is it? I thought Rockstar did Max Payne.
Yeah, Remedy. Remedy is working on, I believe, 1 or 2 Max Payne remakes now.
Oh, it is Remedy. All right. I don't know why I thought maybe Rockstar published it. I don't know why I always thought.
It seems like it kind of seems like it could be an old Rockstar.
Rockstar in 2012. So they did do one of the Max Paynes. Yeah. Maybe it was Max Payne 3. Yeah, they did put Max Payne 3.
Yeah,
so, but
Remedy's the main. Yeah, Remedy's the main one. But yeah, there's definitely some games they can bring back that I think people would be requesting, because like I still think it was a mistake that they canceled the Twisted Metal live service game. I don't understand why, especially when you had a Twisted Metal show that was actually good and that people were watching. Like that seemed like a choice to look at a Twisted Metal, which is an established that's kind of the golden goose. Like you have an established IP that you got the nostalgia factor.
Mario Kart just came out. Yeah. I know it's not completely similar, but there is a place for it.
Yeah, it's a party game, but maybe but more hardcore. You made a show based on it that's doing well, and they were like, you know what, we're going to get rid of that, but here's a Concord and Fair Game dollars. like what, what is? I don't understand the thought process behind what went into this live service. Like, I understand why Jim Ryan got a boner for live service games. Like, obviously it's the same deal.
Ones.
Yeah, it's the same deal with all these studios who invest in live service. They see the potential, like, oh, you mean I can make one game that infinitely prints money? Yeah. Well, who wouldn't if you're an executive be intrigued by that? But the decisions on the games to invest in, mind-boggling. I don't understand.
I think the thing that a lot of these developers don't understand is by the time a trend hits, if you're not already like 2 years into development on that game, by the time that you try to put that game out, the trend might already be over. Extraction shooters were huge like 2-3 years ago. And by the time Tarkov was one of the most streamed games. Like, Tarkov was a big game. So like
Tarkov, not extraction shooters.
Right, exactly. But like, then you just saw all these people say, "Oh, I want to do extraction shooters." Like, isn't there like a Disney extraction shooter under development?
Supposed to be from Epic Games, supposed to be coming out in November. Yeah, I think the problem is that extraction shooters there was never a genre that was meant to be like something you copy. Like, hero shooters kind of made sense. Battle royales kind of made sense, but extraction shooters were always, by design, were meant to be like these niche hardcore experiences. And Tarkov, even though it was a very successful game, primarily on Steam, it did not have the mass appeal like a Fortnite. It was something that was popular among a core group of dedicated hardcore gamers and streamers. Also, that game was relatively low budget. It was a small game. It made sense for them to, obviously they fucked it up later when they got greedy, but they made a relatively small, interesting game. It appealed to this niche audience. It blew up. Great. Like, having all these companies come in like after Tarkov has like lost relevance, say, okay, let's get in on the extraction shooter thing. It's kind of silly, because especially if you're not going to do it right. Like, the reason why Arc Raiders had that initial success is because it didn't really look like an extraction shooter. It was it kind of reminded me of Outriders, and without the flashy powers, and it leaned heavily into PvE, because the way you get mass appeal is with more so appealing to a casual audience rather than hardcores, and that's what helped it. Obviously, they still weren't able to avoid that huge loss in players, mainly because they weren't prepared for how successful the game was going to be, so they didn't really have the content ready. But the formula was solid. Let's make an extraction shooter, but let's make it casual friendly. Whereas Marathon was like, no, let's make a Tarkov competitor that cost 10 times as much to make it.
Yeah, and that was what I was waiting to get for my shot. I was about to ask you, when was the last time you heard anybody talk about Arc Raiders? Like, that game was like the biggest game in the world for like 2 or 3 months, and I don't think I've heard anybody talk about it in a month, 2 months.
Yes,
and that is like, I just feel like there are too many yes men that aren't actually paying attention. Like, we look at, like, it's like the people, they love this game, they love this certain thing, and it's their turn to be in charge and make the plans, and like, we're gonna do this thing that I love, and everybody else is gonna love it too. But they don't have somebody say, hey, by the way, I really understand that you love this, but I don't think it's gonna work, as well as you think it does.
Yeah.
So let's scale it back if we're gonna do this and do it the right way and not like end up in this huge loss.
And that's a big problem in game development for sure.
And I also don't understand how Sony spends all this money on Bungie. And just like I said, for Xbox buying Bethesda and not being ready to pump out the next Fallout and Elder Scrolls, how are they not talking to Bungie and saying, let's pump out the next full Destiny experience? Like, okay, you can release these smaller expansions every year for as long as you want, but at the end of the day, you need to get everybody into a new ecosystem where they are starting over with their spending and getting another full-blown game where they can put a full-blown investment into the game and then start the cycle over. Like, that'll give you an opportunity to improve all your systems and bring the game forward more instead of just, building on the same one that's been going for a long time. And I know there are games that somehow manage to survive and do that, like DC Universe Online. I will never understand how that game is still going. Even the Old Republic, I was just starting at Bose when that game came out. I had something pop up in my feed the other day that it was like the 9-year anniversary of me finally meeting Darth Revan in the game. And it's like, holy shit, I haven't played that game in 9 years and it's still going somehow.
Warframe is like the gold standard for a game like that. That's actually continuing to grow. Has actually been growing. I thought it was actually funny where someone made a post about how the digital thing was misleading because Sony's data was skewed by the free to play games and digital only games, and they showed the list of like the top 10 games most played on PlayStation, and hilariously Destiny 2 was in the top 10 still.
Well, I think that's obviously a little skewed because of that big push recently.
The expansion was a while ago. That last update was a while ago. It's still going.
Right, but they had that campaign to like, we're going to show them. We're all going to log on. But I get it.
And it didn't work. And it didn't work. And it's still
right.
But the
it's
fact
never going to work.
But the fact that it still maintained a top 10 on most games played for an entire month for a game that they're shutting down is crazy. like what are you doing? Like that, I don't think Marathon has ever been in the top 10 most played on PlayStation, and they're just doubling down on it, and nothing they're doing is increasing the players. I've heard that they're trying to do PvE. They did different free to play stuff. It's just not hitting, and it's not a bad game. It was just too niche, and they should have spent. They didn't know they went away. This is another example of a studio going away from what their core audience wanted and expected, and not executing it poorly. Like what happened with Rocksteady with Suicide Squad. There's a game that was the opposite of what their core audience was expecting. It could have worked, but they didn't execute it properly, and it blew up in their face.
Yeah. Yeah, and that is a classic example too, because it's one thing to get people to get into something that's a little bit different and has all the elements of what you want, but it's getting the opposite. Like, they went all in on being different with that one, and I just wish some of these studios would get to. It's the same thing. I know we're going to talk about Supergirl at some point. But it's the same thing I'm feeling about James Gunn. I feel like, especially with WB, they are in this position right now where they're in the middle of this sale, and even before that, they're losing all this money. But and I know that you're going to be excited. I'm excited about Mr. Terrific. I think he's a great character.
I'm very excited about Mr. Terrific. That's going to be the best show of the year.
I hope so, but that's not what they need to be doing right now. Just like I don't think they need to be doing Supergirl. Selfishly, I understand feeling that way. but like they haven't even gotten to the Trinity yet. You know, like you need to be focusing on the core. You need to get some safe ones out there that are going to get the interest back to where it needs to be, get you the trust, and then you start going to the smaller things. But you know,
let's keep it a bean. If they had announced and released a new Wonder Woman movie with a new actress instead of Supergirl, what do you think the box office would have been? And do you think the discourse would have been any different?
I do think the discourse would be. Well, who's the new Wonder Woman? You know, I will say the same thing.
I've seen different fan casts. Assume she's extraordinarily hot and a better actress than Gal Gadot.
Yeah, then I think there's a possibility it does as well as the first Wonder Woman did. You know, but I also think that like Millie Alcock almost got there, and then like a week or two before, she said something she should be allowed to say, but isn't safe to say. You know what I mean? And like, there's no reason there should have been any blowback on it. I think she said something like,
"Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. I don't think it mattered at all."
No, I don't disagree, because like that's another issue we're running into, is that like everybody needs things to be. Everybody wants a 10 out of 10 all the time, and if it's not a 10 out of 10, then fuck it. All right, and if it's not exactly to their demanded specifications, then fuck it. Okay, like you can't even. There's no nuance anymore. It's what I want or fuck it. And that is killing all of this entertainment, because it used to be that we could just have a 7 out of 10 and be like, all right, I enjoyed it enough. It wasn't perfect, but it was good. I enjoyed it. I'm glad I got to experience that character. I hope we get to see them again. What's next? You know what I mean? And if you just get those safety situations, like get your new DCU Batman out there, all right? Like you're confusing people.
I think that would have done great, but
sure.
I think the issue is that you're kind of looking at it like from a nostalgic point of view, and I think the problem is that the economy has changed in a lot of ways, mostly for the worse. Things are much more expensive. People are looking for ways to cut back, and obviously theater attendance has been shrinking forever now. But you'll still have your big box office stuff, but it's like big. These are like typically big movies, but sometimes you get like unexpected hits. But those unexpected hits, like Back Rooms, if you look at the box office, the reason why that was a massive hit is not because it made $1 billion. It didn't. It was like 300 million. It's because it had a tiny budget, right. and the issue is it's fine to make an okay movie, but if just a fun okay time. But if you're spending nearly $200 million on it,
agreed.
I mean, that's an issue. Like,
you have to rein it in.
Like, I don't think Clayface is going to make
right
$800 million, but if they made it for like a $10 million budget and it makes $100 million, that's a hit.
Exactly. But yes. I'm questioning James. I love James Gunn. All right, yeah. I've loved all of his movies. I'm starting to question him being in charge. I don't think he's a like head of studio guy. I think he needs somebody to put him in the right direction.
I'm gonna let him cook for a little longer, but I do understand, because my issue is that, like, I like James Gunn in charge because I think James Gunn is I think he's a good writer. He loves comics,
I think he's brilliant.
He's a good director, but the quality concerns me a little bit, like for Supergirl, because obviously the chuds were going to hate Supergirl no matter what. Like, same as if it was a Wonder Woman. They were going to hate it no matter what. Especially they were just looking for a reason. Especially if the actress has opinions on politics that are controversial, such as women should have rights. Those people hate that. So I think the issue was that the movie wasn't that good, and you can't really afford to do that anymore. Marvel got away with it for a while because it was at a time when people were still going to the movies, and they built up a ton of momentum, with Iron Man and Iron Man 2. So you can afford to drop a Thor: The Dark World when you have an Iron Man and an Avengers, that sort of
to be
thing.
Fair, Thor: The Dark World
is underrated, by the way. But
also, well, it's also the worst version of Malekith, but I digress. Thor: The Dark World wasn't like Supergirl, okay? It was Thor, okay? Supergirl is C-list, okay? And Thor: The Dark World was the second Thor movie after a monstrously successful Thor movie. You went straight from Superman to Supergirl without getting any other Justice League stuff out. And then not even the Justice League, the Justice Gang with a bunch of goofballs.
You can replace Thor: The Dark World, because I mentioned that because it was like considered, ass. And
I understand. I understand what you were getting at.
You replace that with Ant-Man. Right,
but Ant-Man was still like multiple movies down the line.
But that's my point. Like they had momentum, and they had already established the universe. That's why they could afford to do something maybe risky, like Guardians of the Galaxy, James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy. That normally would be considered a risk because no one outside of comic fans knew who the fuck they were, and they were like, "What is this? James Gunn? He's doing a guard. Who are the Guardians of the Galaxy? What is this?" But they were like, "You know what? But it's an MCU movie, and MCU had built up all this,
and they had earned
all this great clout, and people were still going to the movies. So they're like, yeah, fuck it, I'll go to all the MCU movies have been fun so far. Fuck it, I'll go. I just saw the Avengers. I just saw the last Avengers. That was great. I want to see some more MCU stuff, so I'll give it a shot. And it turned out to be great. And that was the key. Guardians of the Galaxy was a great movie. Supergirl was not a great movie. It was based on great source material. They did not execute it properly.
They earned that by starting with Iron Man and then getting to Avengers and then getting to Captain America and then getting to Thor and then getting to an Iron Man 2. I
pushed back on that too, because Iron Man was also a C-list hero.
Yeah, but it was Robert Downey Jr. and
who was a C-list actor who at that time who people thought was out of Hollywood.
It's not who he is now then, but they blew up with Iron Man and then they got into Avengers.
Because it was a great movie. If they had played it safe, they would have started with Spider-Man or something like that.
Well, that's the other issue.
That's why it happened. It was a kind of a happy accident because Marvel, out of desperation, had sold the film rights to Spider-Man to Marvel, to Sony out of desperation. Sony rejected all the other characters they offered them. So, the X-Men were tied up with 20th Century Fox. Hulk was tied up with Universal. So it was kind of a show that we were like, okay, what heroes do we have left? And fuck it, let's do an Iron Man movie. And it worked out.
And what Gabe is talking about here is when you give Gunn the opportunity, that this is my big problem with James Gunn, is I love him for it as much as I feel like he's like using it as a crutch. You see him do a Suicide Squad and he brings in all of these unknown characters. Nobody knew who the fuck Peacemaker was when he came out in Suicide Squad, all right? Nobody knew who most of these characters were, and he's so good at getting people interested in them, but then he takes over like a whole thing at once, and he's like, dicking around with Guy Gardner in the Justice Gang, and he's first thing he puts out is Creature Commandos, which was good, but
Very good.
also animated and not for everybody, and also not like his obsession with fucking Rick Flag. Rick Flag is in like everything. Like it's weird, and it's like if I got the opportunity to take over, and I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I am going to shove Masters of the Universe into everything.
Yeah.
Okay, you're gonna see Skeletor in fucking everything, and you know what? At a certain point, it might just not work. Like you have, that's my big issue with James Gunn right now running DC. Superman movie being first, 100% should happen every single time.
100%.
But you can't go from Superman to Supergirl right away. If you did that, like 7 movies in, probably in a better spot to do it. But you've got like even the stuff. Yeah, like Lantern should have been out first.
Yeah, realistically, yeah, the first DCU show should have been Lanterns. The first movie, Superman. The second movie should have been Batman Brave and the Bold. The third movie, Man of Tomorrow.
Yeah, and you should have gotten a second Superman movie before Supergirl, for sure. I don't need Supergirl's backstory to understand that she's coming in to help her cousin fight Lex Luthor.
Yeah,
I don't need to see that. I don't need to see her coming of age.
I do think it could have been great if they had done a better job with it. It could have been like a Logan type of thing where it's just, or even though you have kind of low expectations, it just kind of goes insane because it's such a good story. It had the source material had a potential. The execution just wasn't there, unfortunately.
Yeah, and on top of that, there's just not enough. Like even Lobo, as much as we comic book fans love Lobo, he is not like your mainstream pickup on Lobo is the fact that it's Jason Momoa, not that it's Lobo. Yeah. So, and a lot of people, I'm sure everybody that watched this movie and saw Jason do Lobo is now going out and looking for Lobo comics because he was fantastic as Lobo, as shoehorned in as he was.
Yes, it did kind of feel like it was almost done in reshoots. Like it was like it was kind of
but
wild.
Every other aspect of that movie was things people didn't know or weren't familiar with. And you can't do that every time. You just can't. And he uses that as his crutch. He's like, I am going to make people like these obscure characters because I did it with Guardians of the Galaxy and I'm gonna do it again. You're gonna love Rick Flag. He fucking rocks. All right. You're gonna love Rick Flag. Yeah, he's cool, I guess, but like it's still Rick Flag, and there's only so many ways you can put him in there and have him be interesting. Like
I like Peacemaker.
Peacemaker is kind of cool, but at the end of the day, it's still. I don't know. I don't know if I'm putting all my eggs in that basket. Again, they got lucky because it's John Cena, and as bad as an actor as John Cena is, Peacemaker was made for him. Like
I thought his acting's actually gotten pretty good.
I think he's gotten better. Yep, he's absolutely gotten better, but he was a terrible actor. Like going into Peacemaker.
For sure, but he definitely got much better. I thought he was legitimately good in a lot of Peacemaker season 2. Appreciate the dodos Armani. I'm definitely have my money on Wolverine over Spider-Man 2 in terms of my personal enjoyment. But I think the Gunn issue is that he's obviously very passionate, but I also question how patient. Like that's the other thing. They're in the process of being acquired by Paramount. So previously I was like questioning how patient WB was going to be. They seem kind of satisfied after Superman's success. But now they might be like looking a little sideways. Fortunately, if Supergirl, if the numbers are correct, Supergirl is going to lose money, but it's not going to lose money like Flash did. The one thing James Gunn has done that I applaud that he learned from Marvel is not going over budget. Like he is very clear of that. I'm not greenlighting a project unless I like the script. And I mean, liking the script kind of is another issue, but he's been avoiding reshoots and trying to keep the budgets in line so that even if they don't hit the numbers that they are hoping for, they'll still kind of come out ahead. So that's good so far. But yeah, I definitely think there's reason to question the lineup, because even when he first announced it, I was excited as everyone else, especially DC fans. But when I saw that his big plan for Wonder Woman was a Game of Thrones style show called Themyscira, where Wonder Woman doesn't appear, I was like, what is blood cooking?
but that's my point. He thinks that he can just turn water into wine. Like,
I'm like, I don't know about that with you. I was like, I was like, I don't know about that with you. I was like, yeah, Superman, yes. Brave and the Bold, absolutely. Woman of Tomorrow, for sure. That could work. Lanterns, I'm intrigued. Yeah. No Flash, no Wonder Woman. A little weird. like a lot. Now we're gonna have, the animated lineup is interesting, but but right now it's weird. Like, compared to the start of the MCU, you had, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America, Hulk, the Avengers, and so far for the DCU, it's, Creature Commandos, Peacemaker Season 2, Superman, Supergirl, Woman Tomorrow, Clayface, and Lanterns.
And Lanterns look sus. I mean,
Lanterns looks. I'm the second trailer was a lot better than the first trailer. I will say, and I think their Jon Stewart is fantastic. Gabe is very happy, in particular with the choice. I think Lanterns is going to be good. I think some people are going to owe James Gunn an apology on that one. I'm willing to go out on a limb here and say Lanterns, despite the vibes people got the trailer for that first trailer in particular, I think Lanterns is going to be really good. Maybe it's cope, but I need to believe Jon Stewart's first appearance in the DCU isn't going to be ass.
I think this is going to be one of those situations where the acting is good and everything is fine, but if we're not in space by episode 3, what the fuck are we even doing? You know what I mean? Like why? How has Jon Stewart not been to Oa yet? You know what I mean? Like, because that's what happens when you become a Green Lantern. The ring captures you and takes you to Oa. You don't have some guy on Earth saying, "Oh, I'm gonna just teach you." That's not how it works. At a certain point, like, I don't know. We'll see.
I'm assuming that there's a lot of stuff they were keeping out of this trailer, and that when we see it, we're gonna be like, oh, I can't. Oh, of course they really just wanted this to be a surprise, or they really got us.
I've said all along that I hope that what they've shown us is like the first 2 episodes in the trailers, but like if we're really fucking around in some hick town for 9 episodes, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, okay, where's Sinestro? Like, where are these all the space aliens that we're fighting? Like, what are we doing? Like, what's like?
Have faith, Jay.
I'm trying to, but I don't have a lot of confidence right now in his decision making. I just don't. I don't like. I know the Batman. He inherited that, and it was very successful, and it was very good. You need to find a way to either roll that into the DCU and go with it, or like, I'm sorry, Patman. Great one-off, but we're moving in a different direction. The rollout, the spin-offs from that universe is just confusing. Penguin show, good show. Clayface could be a good movie, but like, I don't know. Apparently they're doing a Deathstroke and
Bane movie, Deathstroke and
Bane
Bane.
movie. Like, okay, maybe, but
Weird, but could be good. I don't know.
Exactly.
I'd watch that. I'd watch that. That sounds like it would be fun.
I'll tell you what, Eastwood. If that's the case, fine. Okay. If Brainiac is just if this is setting everything up for Man of Tomorrow, and we get there, fine. Because at least that is giving us some cosmic reason for this to happen. You know, we've already seen Guy Gardner be a Green Lantern in this universe. Like, we don't need, like, we already know what the lanterns are. We don't need some grounded, like, establishment show that, like, builds up into, like, we know what they are. Just do it. Like, I don't know. I loved what they did about Superman. They just assumed you knew who he was, and they fucking just rolled with it.
I think that works. I think that works for Superman because he's the most famous character in human history,
sure.
apart from Jesus Christ. I don't think
maybe Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, I don't think as many people know John Stewart like in Hal Jordan, especially considering how horribly the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern movie went. I think there's only a small handful of characters that you could get away with saying, okay, you already know, we don't need to get into the backstory. That's Superman, Batman, and Spider-Man. Like we know about Uncle Ben. We know about Martha. We understand. They're like these are iconic characters. I feel like as much as we love comic nerds love the Green Lanterns, I think it's perfectly valid to have like an origin story, especially when you're introducing John Stewart as a potentially mainline your main Green Lantern universe. I think that's perfectly valid.
I don't think they need more than 2 full episodes to get there, though. Like, I mean, you should have that story ironed out and started in the first 2 episodes,
and that's why you make it a series instead of a movie. And I think that's could be the benefit here. I think I'm trusting them on Lanterns. I think they're good. I think they're going to cook.
Yeah. Well, I'm cautiously optimistic, but I haven't seen anything that.
See, Travis' mom just proved my point. Shout out to Travis's mom.
I mean, Green Lantern, I think, is just an overarching character. I don't really think it matters which one it is. I think a lot of people, the average viewer, will look at Green Lantern and not know, like, how the casual will just see Green Lantern. They don't know the difference between Hal Jordan, Kyle Rayner, and Guy Gardner.
Exactly. That's why I think the show, conceptually at least, makes sense, because I think casual comic fans understand. Oh, okay, Green Lantern. Yeah, the guy who with the you get the ring and is powered by your imagination. Got it. That's like the gist of they get that general gist. I think
I want to get this off my screen. I've had it on here a while. We had transitioned into this. I have been saving this. Apparently, Naughty Dog updated their header today, and
are those discs?
Yeah, I see what they're doing. It's basically all of their games and everything, and this is, I think, supposed to be like on the ship in Intergalactic. But the timing of it,
is unfortunate.
Is quite interesting. So yeah, I just wanted to get that off the screen.
I don't know how long that's been up there.
I think it went up today. That's what I saw.
If it just went up today, that's they might be playing with fire on that one, because I do know that Sony was looking to cut some jobs, and they were looking at Naughty Dog potentially, because Naughty Dog has not produced really anything this entire console generation. Yeah. so they might want to be careful.
Right.
Might want to be careful with that one. Like you made them some good money with even though The Last of Us 2 didn't make as much money as The Last of Us Part 1, but you haven't made anything since except remasters. and people did not receive the trailer for your new game very well. So
Right.
they might want to be they might want to be careful. Like Sony might look for an opportunity to cut some more of their costs going forward, starting with Naughty Dog. Like they better watch out. But very, very, very well done on their part. If that was, it could have very well been accidental. They might take it down. It might not piece it together. It feels intentional, so it might some intern might get in trouble for that one. Like, because if that did go up today, probably know the internet might be like instigating. It could have just been something they've had up that no one just noticed until today.
I guess from what I understood reading the tweet, I had already gone past it. I just opened the image. From what I had understood, it looked like it had just gone up like in the last day or two.
Yeah, I would be curious to see someone confirm the time on that one. Yeah, Intergalactic, we still don't have gameplay for that. Also, I think they're targeting 2027 for that, and we still don't have any actual gameplay. I heard that maybe the Game Awards for that one, maybe they'll do a state of play September. But yeah, they might have just caused Sony to pay a little more attention to their development timeline. Like, yeah, where's that trailer that you owe us? What's going on?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out what
Intergalactic. Pretty sure Naughty Dog doesn't make Souls likes. I'm pretty confident in that. In fact, they don't make Souls. They don't make Souls games. Social media intern and junk in the office right now getting scolded. 100%. Like, so somebody's getting scolded, whether it was intentional or not. That's unfortunate. But
yeah,
very funny. But very funny. Now, so the other thing we got to hit on is just to avoid some spoilers for Eastwood's sake, is X-Men 97 season 2, and I have to start off by complaining. Jay, I have a big fucking problem with X-Men 97 season 2.
Okay.
And it's the fact that they premiered it with 3 episodes and they dropped it at 3:00 in the fucking morning. Why are we still doing this? They have they literally learned nothing? Like, why are we still premiering shows at 3:00 in the morning instead of a reasonable hour so that people can have proper watch parties and proper discussions? Like, they got the weekly model right, but they're dropping them in the middle of the night.
I mean, it was a proper time for Europe.
Sure.
You know, like a typical East Coast American, only thinking of themselves. But yeah, I it didn't really affect me because like I knew it was coming, but I wasn't ready to watch it until the morning anyways, or afternoon actually. So man, it's really good. And my biggest complaint is how the fuck there isn't something already tied into Marvel Rivals. Like Marvel Future Fight can do it, you know?
Yeah, like, I think in the case of Rivals, it's like unfortunate timing because they were coming off a holiday, and the release of 97 coincided with the final update week of 8.5, which they had planned to do more summer stuff. So I'm guessing they just hadn't had anything. They just didn't have the time because they also were having issues getting the just the summer stuff they had out the door. So
if my Lord Cyclops is not wearing this on Friday, they have fucking failed. Okay.
So my guess is that the X-Men 97 tie-in is going to come with the launch of season 9,
which is Friday.
Yeah. So we'll probably so if there is a tie-in, we'll know about it probably on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then it'll be in the game Friday or later this month. But I definitely do expect some kind of X-Men 97 tie-in for sure. I just think it just literally was a tie-in. They just didn't have the opportunity to get anything prepared because I think they've always done some kind of tie-in for.
But it's not like they didn't know this was coming like months ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm so sick of all their original shit. I don't care about Captain America's fucking cock. I don't care about any of this booty shit. Like, I don't care. Okay.
Jay loves it.
Over it so much. Like, even while this was live, there's like people talking about, oh, there's 2 original Iron Fist skins coming very soon, and there's original Doctor Strange stuff coming soon. Like, motherfucker, like, why? There's so much. It's fine. Like, if you want to do some events with that stuff, great. Okay, but like, come on, man. What are we like? I feel like as each season goes by, they actually do less and less and less of like the core stuff that we know and love.
I think this season it felt like it because it just so happened to fall on the summer special, which they obviously made extraordinary amounts of money on last year. That's why they came back and doubled down on it. So that's why like pretty much this whole 0.5 section of 8 was just dedicated to the beach stuff. So I think season 9. I mean, I'm definitely expecting more beach stuff in season 9 as well. But I think we'll see more of a mix this time. The usual stuff, some comic stuff, some original stuff. And particularly, I'm expecting Age of Apocalypse theme content. I think that would make a lot of sense since they introduced Apocalypse, setting him up as like a big bad for this season because when they introduce Jubilee, they're introducing her as a horseman of Apocalypse. So to me, that tells me that they're definitely going to be doing some kind of Apocalypse theme. Maybe that's what the theme of this battle pass is going to be, or they'll have some shop skins throughout the season. So
and I'm not worried about that. But here's the other thing. I don't know if they realize this. They've got like 50 characters now. You can expand. You can have events like literally go live every week. All right. And you can put all your original skins in those events, and you can sell 2 or 3 different shop update bundles, skin packs every week. You don't need to do 2 every week. You have so many characters and there's so many things that you could make so much money. I'm not saying you need to overload it, but you could probably add another skin. So just dropping 2 every week. You can drop 3 every week now. You're at that point, and you can dedicate at least one of them to something core and classic that everybody is going to love, and it's going to let you keep doing those original ones without everybody. Like, I swear to God, if they just put out 1 skin a week that was straight out of the core comics that people are familiar with and hoping for and waiting for, that I would not even complain about the original stuff anymore. Like, just give us something. And I
think people will still complain, but
sure, but it would be very much alleviated
because not all comic skins are good. Like,
no, but like I look at Iron Man, right? And don't get me wrong, I'm loving my samurai skin, okay, but like even Iron Man has like 3, maybe 3 core skins, and everything else is original. And maybe I didn't buy a bunch of them, so there may be a few more that are actually from the comics, but like
he's got a mix of he's got some comic skins, he's got MCU, and then he's got original.
It's just nowhere near what I thought it would be. Like I felt like you could churn out one Iron Man skin from his arsenal a month, and people would buy that shit like gobble it up.
I think from my assumption is that they're looking at it as like, yeah, they're prioritizing characters based on sales, and that's why you see certain characters get more skins than others, but also they do realize that they have a large roster. They also understand that they're trying to have a game that lasts 10 years or whatever.
I understand that
as much as possible. So I think with the amount of content they're releasing, the reason why they are having so much original content all loaded every season is because they don't want to get to a point where they're potentially running low on material, because there are a ton of comic skins, but there aren't that many for each character that most people actually care about. Like,
I'll tell you what, man. Marvel Heroes Omega says otherwise.
I mean, that game's dead. So,
but yeah, I mean that game was mismanaged at a management level for sure.
Yeah,
but
I think they are. I think they wouldn't have, and that's the other thing. I don't think they would have as many original skins if they weren't selling as well.
Yeah, well, because they put all thirst trap skins out. Like
exactly, it sells.
And but I do think that, like, again, just throw a bone once a week. Like, add a third skin into the rotation that is guaranteed to be a core classic, skin for some character just once a week. And then you could probably do original shit all the time.
I mean, and they typically do dedicate, parts of the updates to different. I think this 8.5, I think, was the first time they just released straight up original skins, because they were just promoting the summer stuff, which again made them a lot of money. So I can't really blame them for that, because typically, like I think recently we got the Fear Itself Hulk, Fear Itself Thing costume. So they're still, they have some comic stuff in the battle pass. So they're definitely still, cooking up with the original, with the comics, and and we got the recently MCU we got the comic Daredevil from the year one. So they're still cooking stuff up like that. But yeah, right. you are
and this is exactly what I'm talking about. Stuff. And I'm like if I don't have like Gambit's death needs to be this season
for sure.
Like, I don't. What are we doing if we don't? You know what I mean? Like, that is an iconic Gambit outfit. I guarantee you that shit would sell. Cyclops, dude. There's so many. I want Phoenix for Cyclops first, but like, I need this. Like, what, this should be in the game.
I definitely expect
this should be in the game. This should be in the game. Like, they're awesome suits. Do a whole X-Men 97 event. There's 4 characters. There's Storm and those 3. Like, what are we doing?
Well, we do know. Well, I do know for sure, and I appreciate the 5. We're not allowed to say what we like about this game yet, but we do know for sure, at the very least, we're getting some fresh MCU costumes in season 9 because of the Age of Ultron new event and / game mode that's dropping later this month. So they're not comics, but they're MCU. People, a lot of people.
That's fine. MCU comics, whichever.
MCU. Obviously we're definitely going to have the MCU Ultron, which will be fun. But I do hope that they learn from the Avengers Doomsday the Doomsday Loki event and do more than 2 MCU costumes because yeah, the MCU Iron Man, they were great, but only 2 is crazy. Like especially because of how lackluster that mode ended up being. But for Age of Ultron, absolutely 100% need the Ultron, the Cap, the Thor, and the Scarlet Witch for sure from the movie. Non-negotiable. They got it. They got to have them. And I actually think they should bring in some MCU skins from Avengers 2012 that they didn't have from that season because I feel like they got to owe us for that one. I feel like that was a little lackluster. Like we could use more. We need more than 2. Like they sold us this lobby animation where we got all the Avengers lining up, and only one of them has a skin from that actual movie. Like,
yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Like that's kind of wild. Like because Loki wasn't part of the Avengers, so he's not in the lobby screen, MC screen,
right?
And in the lobby screen, so it's just Iron Man and the base outfits. I tried to put MCU outfits on all of them, but it didn't quite work. I had the Widow movie Widow. I had the Love and Thunder Thor, the Avengers 2012 Iron Man, and the Infinity War Cap. It's just not the same. It didn't hit the same. I'm like you gotta give us more MCU costumes. Like I in that regard, I do agree. Like it was definitely a missed opportunity. Like going in when they planned that Avengers mode, they absolutely I feel like should have had a battle pass with like at least 4 Avengers 2012 costumes on it, 100%. And I hope that the one thing I do hope, I hope they have a pass with some of the Age of Ultron skins, and I think it would be cool if you can unlock the MCU Ultron one by playing the new mode. And this is me hoping that the new mode is them bringing back the Ultron battle matrix, and they make that the reward for.
I hope for your sake you get it.
I'm begging Guang, please Guang, bring back Ultron battle matrix, please, and make it permanent. Please save me from having to play ranked more than I need to. At this point, especially now, like I don't care anymore about ranked. I got GM. I don't care. I'm just gonna play going for it. I'm just gonna play until they improve rank. I'm just gonna play my 20 games a season and call it. And I only played a little bit extra this season because I was close to GM. So I figured, all right, fine. I'll just play the rest to get the GM. But outside of that, like if I had Ultron Battle Matrix, I would not touch ranked. Once I had my gold reward skins, I would not touch ranked if I had Ultron Battle Matrix. That's all I would play.
I actually was talking about my wife and I. All right, so today we went to Connecticut because we went to my cousin's daughter's graduation party, which is fucking wild to me because my cousin Jeremy is my age. She's like 6 months younger than me. Maybe we graduated high school together. Like it's wild to me that his daughter is now graduated high school and going to college. So that part was weird. But while we were driving back from Connecticut, I was talking about an idea that I just had. Like I'm gonna start doing when I'm streaming Rivals. You can make donations to make me do things. So like for $10, I will play whatever character you want me to in the next match. For $20, I will play ranked in the next match. Something like that. You know what I mean? And that is outside of my 10 matches. The only way I will touch ranked is if somebody pays me to do it. Like
that bad, huh?
I'm willing to do that for the funds, because like I'm not a very good salesman for myself. I'm not the type that advertises oh, become a member and stuff like that. Like and it's weird because I actually I've talked to you about the Turtle Boy guy that I follow.
Yeah.
And his universe, like there's people that he knows that have kind of built a name off of working through him and stuff. And there's, long story short, there's this one chick who has like 10,000 subscribers. Actually, she just went under 10,000. And there's like a lot of controversy with her. A lot of people don't like her right now. And she talks a lot about how much money she makes. And she claims that she makes like $10,000 a month. And I'm like,
it's a lot of money.
There's no way. Like, yes, you stream every day, but like your best streams are only getting like 20, maybe 30,000 views. But like,
on what platform?
YouTube.
Just on YouTube?
Yeah, that is nowhere near enough to be making that much money. But she has like a million. Like I would guess like at least 25% of her subscribers are members, which is insane to me. And she gets donos like nonstop, and it's weird to me, like, to see that. Like, I don't get it. I still doubt that you're making that much money. Although Armani is like giving us his whole paycheck tonight. Thank you. We appreciate that. Do it on our main account.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Yeah, it does nothing here, but
although I don't know, maybe I did just pay for StreamYard for the year, last week.
Yeah.
So, but I it's wild to me, and I'm not comfortable with that, because like I like the idea. All right, just watch the ads, please. I'll make my money that way. But become a member for all of us.
I have a Patreon that I started up, and I just leave it in the end screen to promote it. Haven't even done a community post for it.
Liam, I will be doing ranked day 1 of season 9 if somebody pays for it.
I mean, Jay he'll do it eventually, because he has to get his
right. But if you want to see it day 1, if you want to see it day 1, we're talking dono.
Yeah, day 1 is literally one of the worst days to play ranked in Marvel Rivals. It's like the first day of the new season and the last day of the season are like some of the worst times to play ranked in Marvel Rivals. Generally, most times are bad to play Marvel Rivals ranked because of the current state it's in. but there are levels to it. Like, first day is like an absolute crapshoot.
Have you been following the World Cup at all? Do you care?
I follow this YouTuber. Shout out to Jeff Sanity. He makes really funny sports videos, and he has pretty much been my primary source of everything going on with the World Cup. I watched his most recent video where he actually decided to LARP as a Portugal fan, so he can go see Ronaldo, and he vlogged like his whole day. He researched their parade. He learned their chants, sort of, in their national anthem, and he streamed himself, showed himself at the actual match. He saw. So I got to see Ronaldo make the penalty kick, and I got to see the whole thing. But outside of that and the French dude they call the dictator, I have no idea what the fuck's going on.
I've enjoyed watching and following Team USA. My heritage on my dad's side, his dad's family came over from Portugal. His mom's family came over from France via Canada. And on my mom's side, her dad's family came over from Ireland, and her mom's family came over from England. So I root for America first, obviously, but with
phrase,
this,
phrase that a little differently.
I've always, yeah, I guess I get what you mean. I've always had other countries where, because America's never been that great at soccer, I've always had other countries that I could watch and root for too. So like Portugal, is kind of like 1A, England 1B, and
Right.
then if France wins, I don't care as much about France, but like I still if USA is not going to win, I want one of those three countries to win.
Right.
And anyway, I know Liam is probably in hell right now because I just saw England is playing Mexico right now in Mexico. I think I'm pretty sure they're in Mexico, and they just got a red card at the 52-minute mark. So there's still like another 35, 40 minutes in the game, and then maybe extra time. But they just got a red card, so they have to play with 10 men versus 11 for the rest of the game. And one of the most hilarious things about the games that have been in Mexico, because Mexico, all of their games have been there, their fans have been finding the hotels that their opponents are staying at and blaring their horns outside all hours of the night. They did it to England last night. They just thousands of people outside their hotel just partying and making noise all night to make sure they couldn't sleep.
That's psychotic.
I've heard of people doing that. I've heard of that happening because when teams come to play the Patriots, they stay in Providence, and I have heard people do shit at their hotels, which is fucking stupid. Like they'll pull fire alarms and things like that. So, the U.S. in their last game had a guy get red carded, and there's also a big controversy about that because apparently, and I don't know how true this is, but apparently Trump called FIFA and had them review it, and they sent it to an independent counsel, and they reviewed the red card and said, because he's supposed to be suspended for tomorrow's game against Belgium, and they rescinded the red card, and now he gets to play, and Belgium is fucking livid. They're threatening to sue. They are so pissed.
Was it a valid red card, though, is the question.
Well, they're saying it wasn't. They rescinded it. So
but don't we have replay in
Well, that's the thing. Whenever there's a red card, they do the replay on the spot, but now they're saying that it wasn't a valid red card and it shouldn't have been shown. So they took it back, and now he gets to play tomorrow. By the way, he's our best player. And a lot of people are also mad at him because he was born in Brooklyn, but he lived there for 3 months and grew up in England. His mom just happened to oh wow, it's 3-1 down. That's crazy. Anyway, but he actually grew up. He's from Nigeria, but his mom's sister was living in New York, and she was visiting, and ended up staying too long and had the baby there, but went back to England. So he could have played for any of the three countries because it's weird. So, yeah, I don't know. We're talking about, exactly. This guy
chose America.
And he chose America, and he's our best player, and he was supposed to not play tomorrow, but now I guess he gets to play.
Well, Eastwood has spoken. The red card was not valid.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know enough about it to make a choice, to decide that. It looked suspect. I'm going to be honest with you, the red card that the English guy just got against Mexico did not look any better or worse than what the American guy got in the last game. So I don't understand, but reading Twitter, everybody seems to say that the red card seemed valid. So I'm not really watching. I just barely saw it.
Yeah, I'm not watching it. I'm not watching it. I saw because when I was watching Jeff's vlog of the game, he showed some of the game.
Yeah,
and it looked unbelievably fucking boring. I was like, they were just
the game itself. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie.
It was the first half. They were literally jogging around the field, just passing it to each other. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I don't. I still don't think soccer is that interesting, but I get it a little bit more being attached to, rooting for America to win, because when they were down, uh, when they were down a man in that last game against Bosnia Herzegovina, I was like, damn, like this is tough. They have a whole extra guy on the field,
Yeah,
and like they started like getting closer and closer to possibly scoring. So like I got the intensity of it. Like every pass kind of mattered, but I have been it has been cool watch. I've said all along I grew up in a military household. My father was very patriotic. I grew up patriotic. I love our
pretty much.
country. My absolute favorite part about the World Cup has been watching all these Europeans and Japanese come over and just falling in love with our country. Like the amount of people making videos about going to, Alabama and Texas and Boston, especially like the Scots took over Boston. You know what I mean? I
As
understand the game,
expected.
but it's fine. But like, it's just been so cool seeing how much they love our country.
You don't
Like,
have to you don't have to understand the game to enjoy it. It's fucking boring. I understand I understood everything about baseball. I played baseball as a kid. I played baseball video games. I know the sport. It's
it's
fucking
tough.
boring.
Yeah. I just bought Red Sox tickets for Pokemon Go night. Literally at the start of the podcast. Because my mom was also at the party today, and I I like taking her to a Red Sox game at least once a year. And I didn't want to go to this one, but then I saw some of the stuff they're doing with it, and I was like, "Mom, do you want to go to another baseball game this year?" And she's like, "Oh, twist my arm." So, Mom and I are going to go to another game
that's
in September.
that's like saying red paint is more fun to watch dry than blue than blue paint.
Hockey is objectively so much of a better game to watch. Like
The only reason I give hockey the edge is because at some point someone's getting punched in the face.
like it I don't think you can really appreciate a hockey game until you go to it. It is so fast. Like it is absolutely the best sport. Like I you can't like it just moves so fast, and it's even cooler to see in person. Like I love it when they show like football players, they give them front row seats at an NHL game, and you can tell they've never been there before. Or like CM Punk took Jay Uso, who's like Samoan from California and Florida, like never been to a hockey game before, took him to his first game, and he just fell in love with it. And it was just like, I love seeing stuff like that. Hockey's so much fun. But like the US hockey team, man, like watching Jack Hughes score that OT gold medal winner, like, I was
If
waving my flag.
if it's not in an anime, I'm not watching it. Volleyball, hockey, soccer, all ass unless it's an anime. it's all, it's all ass
this
unless
is
it's
a
an anime.
Travis level take by Eastwood. Might
Yeah,
be his most Travis take ever.
yeah, this actually might be like I used to I used to I played indoor hockey as a kid. I played hockey video games. I watched some hockey. I will say, objectively speaking, if I'm ranking what's more the boring sports, hockey is much more interesting to watch than baseball, soccer, and NASCAR.
Yeah.
And golf.
Oh
By
god,
far.
golf fucking sucks.
By far.
I hate golf.
By far.
Golf is for people that don't hate themselves enough
Yeah.
already.
Yeah. Hockey is infinitely more fun to watch than all of those. It's not even it's not even close. Not even just separating the fighting. Like just watching how they how they move up and down, and they're checking each other. Jay's right. It does move at a very fast pace, and there's like always something happening, even if the score is not like a basketball game with 150 points or whatever. Like there is very intense, it's very fast, and it's very physical. So that part can be appealing to watch. Soccer is fucking like literally watching underwater basket weaving that's not even in the water. It's in a puddle, and they have a paint can and brush next to them, and they're trying to weave baskets while drying paint. while paint.
Armani, brother, please save your money tonight, okay? please save your money on the after show. Hit us on our main streams. You don't need to donate on the after show. We appreciate it very much. Save your money on the after show. Do it on Sadot the Gamer and JayShockblast.
Yeah, all of this money is going directly to YouTube.
Yeah. We just it's
this channel doesn't make enough money. YouTube's taking.
We love you to death for it, but please, we will feature you heavily anytime on our main channels, and it'll help us much more there if you're going to do it. So we do appreciate you.
I'll say actual factual take. Like
yes.
Hockey is way more fun to watch than all those sports. It is not even particularly close, especially soccer. Yeah. They're all fun to watch in anime form, obviously, because anime makes everything better. But outside of anime, ass dog shit.
All right. Well, we can go in circles on how boring those sports are. I'm at my gotta pee era. So I don't know how much more we have, how many more topics we have to cover.
We covered it, and I've managed to dodge this thunderstorm that's happening right now without the power going out. So
yeah, that would have been awkward because we've already seen what happens when Sadot disappears and I have to carry the show.
Yeah, it gets wicked. So we'll catch you guys next week. Well, you'll be seeing us before next week. Possibly maybe we'll be live tomorrow on our individual channels making some content. Maybe sometime tomorrow, we'll see. Might want to make sure your notifications are set. Might just in case, so you don't miss when we go live, because might be doing something tomorrow that we legally cannot talk about yet. But yeah, you never know. No, so be on the lookout for that, and also the news about Xbox should be dropping tomorrow as well. So prayers up for those developers. Hopefully, it's not as much of a bloodbath as many people are predicting it's going to be. Would love some great news in gaming to happen for once. And then, of course, Tuesday, expect a bunch of Marvel Rival videos. So I appreciate all of you so much for supporting the channel. I'm Sadot the Gamer.
And I am Not Casual Avenger.
Zip it up and zip it out. Ruff. My naysayers.
Yeah.